Hey everybody, it's me, Matt, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, video games. In 2018, Sony released Spider-Man for the PS4. It was the best video game and sold like the best-selling food of all time, hotcakes. Well, you know what happens when people love a video game. They make a sequel. So here's just a few of the things that I would like to see added or changed in Spider-Man PS4 2. Mary Jane sneaking missions. Nobody liked the Mary Jane sneaking missions in the first Spider-Man. Get them out of there. Now, I'm not saying that we have to take Mary Jane out as a playable character. Let's just give her something more fun and interesting to do. Maybe you could have a mini game where she's putting on makeup and you pick the colors or something, or a mini game where she has to track down a bad smell. You could have like a sort of green scent trail that you have to follow with Mary Jane until it leads you to the dead possum under the porch. And it's important to point out, she's not sneaking while she does this. Everyone's watching her carry the dead possum to the trash. I think that could be really fun. Longer fingers. This is something I've wanted to see since I read my first Spider-Man comic. It just makes sense that someone who was bitten by a radioactive spider would have really long fingers. Now, I'm not an idiot. I know spiders don't have fingers. I'm just saying it makes sense that someone who's bitten by a special spider would have really long fingers. And maybe we could upgrade Spider-Man's fingers over the course of the game. We could add length, we could add knuckles. I think it'd be fun to decorate the fingers with rings. Maybe he could even get other Marvel characters' logos as rings on there. It could be really fun. It's honestly stupid to me that no one has given Spider-Man really long fingers, and I think it's time that we finally see that. Kissing minigame. I think it would be cool if Spider-Man could kiss anybody in the city, and you got points for kissing them the right way. He's Spider-Man, so obviously everybody wants to kiss him, so we don't have to worry about that. But some people would want a really wet kiss, or someone else might want a lot of tongue, or maybe for their teeth to clack together. So it's up to you to figure that out and kiss them the right way. Your different buttons would do different lips or something. And maybe you could look through their trash or climb up to their window and watch them kiss someone else to learn the best way to kiss them. And it could be cool too. You could incorporate it into the main game even with maybe you could kiss the villains. And if you fill the kiss meter to 100%, Spider-Man could marry Mysterio or Rhino. You could maybe get a different ending for the game if you kissed all the villains and married them instead of just beating them up. And I love a game where you beat people up. Beating people up is cool, but I think kissing is cool too. And we don't see a lot of kissing in games, so maybe being able to play Spider-Man as a punching game or a kissing game could be really neat. Sonic. It is crazy to me that Sony didn't add Sonic to the first game. Do they not know that Sonic is video games? Are they idiots? Seeing anyone make a video game this day and age without Sonic the Hedgehog pisses me off. And it's not like he shows up in a post-credit scene or anything like that. There's no stinger that's hey, Sonic will be in the next one. I truly consider it the biggest gaming blunder of 2018 that they didn't put Sonic the Hedgehog in this game. I think a cool way to introduce him in the sequel would maybe be Dr. Octopus is choking Spider-Man, and then Sonic comes in as his spin dash and cuts Dr. Octopus's head off, and he goes sorry, I wasn't in the first game. Sony's a bunch of idiots. And then they're hanging out. And you can kiss Sonic, too. Venom is anti-circumcision. It's baffling to me that as far as I know, Marvel doesn't have a character that's anti-circumcision. And we know we're getting Venom in this next game. We've seen him in the teases. So why not him? Let's make Venom anti-circumcision. Now, I'm not saying this has to be his main motivation as a villain. I just think it would be a cool detail to give his character depth. Maybe he's ripping someone apart with his claws, and he could say, but don't worry, I'll never chew off your foreskin. Or maybe Spider-Man swings in while Venom's doing something villainous, and Spider-Man's like, you monster! And he could turn around and be like, me a monster? I'd never mutilate a child's penis for cosmetic purposes. Just, you know what I mean? Just kind of a cool little addition to his character. That's all. Long fingers. I mean, come on, it makes sense. In fact, it doesn't make sense that he has short fingers. He should have long fingers, like spider legs. I'm not asking for something crazy like long toes or something. Long toes. And and now that I do say it, and now that I hear it out loud, long toes would be cool also. And there's no reason not to do that. I think that's a little more fantastical than the long fingers. But you could put rings on toes. You could put knuckles on toes. Terrorize criminals. So you're telling me Spider-Man beats up a bad guy, webs him up, and then that's it? He just goes on his way? I think you should be able to continue terrorizing criminals for bonus XP or collectibles. You could, like, call them and say, give them their parents' address, or say, like, don't worry, I'll pick up Rachel from Shady Lane Daycare at 3:15 today. And it's just to freak them out. Like, you can't, like, do it. You can't, like, go to you can't break their parents' legs or anything, because you have to save something for the third game. But I just think it would be fun to hear them, like, crying and saying, no, please, no. And, and you just say, like, don't mess up again, or, I'll burn your house down, or something like that. Gross webs. Spider-Man's a guy that shoots sticky webs out of his wrists, and no one ever comments on how gross they are, and I think they should. Through the game, maybe you could level up how gross they are, make them wetter, or give them a really bad odor. Then you change the color to sort of like brown or green or something like that. People walk through spider webs in real life and get grossed out all the time, so why doesn't Spider-Man have that power? And maybe even Mary Jane, when she's looking for the bad smell, one time it could just be a pile of Spider-Man's webs, That'd be cool. Sheesh button. Oh, you know that thing where people go like, sheesh, was like a thing on the internet, I guess. I made this list like 6 months, a year ago. That was pretty popular at the time. I don't think people really do it so much anymore, so maybe it'd be like a fun throwback or something. Or maybe at the time the game comes out, the sheesh would have come back around or something. And maybe it's a bad idea, though. Not long fingers. I'm worried that because I put long fingers on here twice, people are going to think that that's a joke. And that, like, when people do a joke like that, they do it 3 times a lot. So I'm not saying I want not long fingers, like that I want short fingers. I'm saying that this spot isn't long fingers to indicate that it's not a joke. I'm seriously saying I want long fingers. The second one was just to emphasize it, and there is no third one that makes it a joke, okay? And since this spot isn't long fingers, we can just make this one like more costumes or something. Yeah, so this one is more costumes, and it's not long fingers, where if it was a joke, I would have put it here. But I'm not. This one is more costumes, would be cool. Also, not long fingers. So I know some of you were thinking that the way I did the last one, it's not long fingers because it's not a joke, was just to set up a bigger joke that then this one would be long fingers. And that's why this one is also not long fingers, to really drive home the point that it's not a joke, and I do want Spider-Man to have extremely long fingers. The only reason I did it a second time was to really emphasize how important it is, not to set up a joke. So this one is not long fingers, and this one it can just be like more Marvel cameos or something. More costumes. Okay, I forgot that this spot actually is more costumes. So the one 2 spots ago that isn't long fingers, that could just be like better side missions or something. And then this is more costumes. Or that one could be more costumes. This is side missions. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the point that I'm really trying to drive home is that I do want Spider-Man to have very long fingers, okay? And that it's not a joke. And that it's upsetting if you think it's a joke, okay? I've made jokes in the past on these videos, I know that, but I'm really trying to turn it into like a serious gaming channel. And that's why I'm really working so hard to make sure that you know that the long fingers thing is not a joke. Because I can see how it could sound like a joke. You know, like if you're not thinking about it the right way. But like I'm talking like by the end of the game, I think it would be cool if Mary Jane's falling off the Empire State Building and then someone else, maybe Mary Jane's dog is falling up the Statue of Liberty, and Spider-Man could catch them both with his long fingers, see? The gameplay there. So, that's all. More guns. I think Spider-Man should have access to a lot of guns in this one. Well, that's my list, guys. In the comments, say which ones you think are the best ones, and please don't say LOL long fingers. Maybe say seriously cool long fingers, and maybe comment how you couldn't. It doesn't even seem like a joke to you, because I do think Sony might watch this. And which reminds me, don't put better ideas in the comments. Just say if my ideas are good. Don't say if they're bad. And don't put better ideas, because I want Sony to see this. I don't want them to scroll in the comments and go, well, actually, we'll do that one. I want them to do mainly the finger thing. I really mainly want them to give Spider-Man really long fingers, and I'm just worried that, like, if you guys are putting really cool stuff in the comments, maybe they'll want to do those instead. So don't do that, and I guess that's it. Oh,